Today on Locked On Sox, I will be talking with the Joe Lunardi of Sox Twitter. The 108 tourney is back. We're talking to Beefloaf at Mr. Delicious 13 about his baby, the 108 and the 108 tourney, here on Locked On Sox.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. We're free and available on platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find us there at Locked On Sox or by searching Locked On White Sox. Today is Friday, March 11th. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. I am the host of Locked On Sox, and I'm the host of the CHGO White Sox podcast, which I'm basically trying to do the intro of right now. It is so ingrained in my head right now, Beef. I love it. Get my podcast straight. But this one is the one that takes place in my closet, and today I have a guest co-host with me. It is Beefloaf, Mr. Delicious 13 on Twitter. He is the Joe Lunardi of Sox Twitter Tournament. What's up, my man?
Sean, good to talk to you, man. It's been a while since we've got a chance to rip it up here, and congrats on CHGO. You're a man of many gigs now. That's what I see. You retired from the score, and now you got 50 jobs. I respect that very much.
I hung these up. I stopped going into the Prudential building, and yes, now I'm trying to come after your gig of podcasting. You guys have a great podcast from the 108. Beefloaf, Chirizi, My Sox Summer. If you love beer, if you love baseball, and you love bull, these are the guys for you. And I got introduced from them by them for their 108 tourney. Back in 2019 was, I think, the first year that I was made aware of it. And then 2020 was the first year I was in it. And now, or 2021 was the first year I was in it. And
2021,
and now 2022, here we go. It's March again, baby. It's tournament time. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
Beef. What's the 108 tourney?
I'll explain the 108 tourney by going back to explain the genesis of From the 108 to begin with. From the 108 started off.
Let me ask you a better question.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
Hey, Beef, what's From the 108? When did you guys start this?
Well, From the 108 is a blog. It's a podcast. It's a YouTube channel. We even do a special programming called the Sunday Soak, which we'll get into in a second. But From the 108 actually started we just had our 6th birthday. The From the 108 blog started. Thank you. We're almost done our pants. We started March 2nd, 2016. We actually kind of started into that season that the White Sox were expected to kind of do big things and had a big start out of the gate. The reason why we started it at the time is we were sitting in section 108 and we're full season ticket holders in that section. It's down the right field line right behind the foul pole. And we just wanted to start capturing all the stuff that happens at Sox Park. It's kind of a magical place in that it's kind of, you think about it like as a stadium, but then when you go to games, you run into people that you know from other parts of your life. And then in this particular area, we had people that we were sitting next to kind of all the time there. So we thought, let's document that. Let's put this into a blog. And we started rolling. And I think we're in the range of like 1,500 blog posts over the 6 years. So it's a decent amount for guys who are basically working stiffs. They're trying to get out there. The podcast thing didn't happen for a few years past that. Well, you know what, Sean, our original thought was, we don't want to do a podcast. Everyone has a fucking podcast. So we eventually relented. Few people pushed on us, and Josh Nelson from Sox Machine was one of them. Was like, you guys should really, podcast what you do. It's not like what everyone else is kind of doing. It's going to be some unique thing. And so we tried it. And when we first started doing it, like, we were horrible. I'll be perfectly honest with you. We have no media training at all. And like, it's just like, I'm an accountant, and Chirizi works in tech. And then my Sox owner is graphic designer by trade. He's actually a stay-home dad right now. He has 2 young girls at home. We tried, and the podcast would be like 3 hours long. And it took us probably, 2 years to feel like, okay, now I think we understand how we should be doing this. It just takes some time.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's, I know that. That's why you when I was doing it, you get your bad out on college radio, right? Like when no one's listening, where you could call 3 years of college women's basketball and up names left and right. Like, that's no issue with me. But now, I mean, you guys really are clicking. I love you and Chirizi going back and forth. You guys making faces whenever my summer says something cancelable. It's a great back and forth. I mean, when you guys start, like, when did you become a season ticket holder? I know, obviously, you've known Chirizi for a long time, but even my summer, he was obviously on the West Coast at some point. When did you guys all meet up together? So
Chirizi and I are brothers, and he's a couple years younger than I am. I guess I'd say I was about maybe 30 years old or whatever. It was 2008. And it was the first time that we could kind of scrape together a few bucks and choose to get seats. And so Chirizi really pushed let's get some seats. But we wanted to sit on the lower level. So he found that the lower corners were the cheapest season tickets. So we're like, let's just settle in one of the lower corners. And so once we settled in 108, we realized too, is not a lot of people had season tickets there. So it became a meeting place for, if we knew other people that were coming to the game, no matter where they sat, they could always all congregate there. That was back in 2008. Now that's impossible. So many people have migrated their season tickets there. It's really tough to kind of get in the spot. So along the way, I'd say about 2014-ish, somewhere in there, we met My Sox Summer. He was dating a friend, kind of an extended friend of the group. And he started coming to games with us, and we just got along fabulously right away. It was like we were best friends. It's weird being, however old I was, 35, 36, 37, and thinking, wow, I just made a brand new friend that's going to be one of my best friends. You don't think like that. You think, oh, you make all your friends when you're in grade school, and so from there on, we just sort of decided, like, you know what, all the stuff that's going on here, let's do something. Let's do something productive with this. And so I don't know how productive From the 108 actually is, but I think people are entertained by it.
It's fun, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, like I was going to say, and I shouldn't say this because my mom's an accountant. I love you, Mom. TGIF. Happy Friday. You might be the most fun accountant I know. He doesn't have a podcast centered around beer and baseball and drinking. So, I love you, Mom. Not trying to bus toss you here, but I think Beef might have you beat out for most entertaining accountant in Chicago.
We call ourselves the drunk uncles. We're like the fun uncle. We're like the fun uncle's going to take you, get you some beer, take you to the ball game, curse a little too much, and generally have a good time. He'll protect you, keep you in line. You don't want too much craziness going on, but enough to have a good time.
Absolutely. And one thing that you guys been doing, it's the 108 weight loss challenge. So I was surprised that you never checked out the Built Bar because, most of them contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. You compare that to a candy bar Beef. Those have 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. These things are low in calorie, high in protein. And if you're looking for a replacement of your candy bars, these are better. And a typical candy bar can, be 200 to 300 calories. So you can replace your bad habits with some good habits. And these are good habits because they taste delicious. They have great flavors from mint brownie, coconut almond, to their new flavor this month, white chocolate, cookies, and cream. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. How was going vegan? Because you guys did the 108 weight loss thing during the off season. You went from Beefloaf to vegan loaf. You're back to Beefloaf. What was going vegan like for you?
You know what? I liked it. I like taking a little break from meat. And I also like just like stretching a little bit my diet just to see what I can do. I guess it probably helps that I'm willing to eat mostly anything. I'm kind of have a wide, diverse amount of stuff I will eat. I'm not a person who goes to a restaurant and is like, oh, there's only 3 things on the menu I could eat. There's maybe only 3 things on the menu I wouldn't eat usually when I go somewhere. So it was just a nice test to myself and try to expand kind of what my choices would be. And even to kind of, I guess, look deeper sometimes into like, if I went out somewhere with friends, I might have hit some menu items I would never normally pick because I might, stick to some staples. The only time it really was a hard time for me, and I picked the shortest month of the year. The only time it was really a hard time, I went out for like a Fat Tuesday dinner, and it was like a couple days before, and everyone was having like this gorgeous looking fried chicken, and I was just sitting there eating like a salad, and I'm like, man, this sucks. But otherwise, it was fine. I would venture to go back at it again at some point. Well,
and you mentioned Josh Nelson earlier. I mean, you guys are going to get all of what you held in February out at Gina and Giorgetti. So I have, you saved yourself for something real special there, my friend.
Yeah, he whooped me in a bet over when the strike was going, or the strike though, when the lockout was going to end. That was February 14th. We're going to be a month in the rear view and the thing's still not over yet.
The only person that wins from the MLB lockout going on is apparently you. And I guess Josh Nelson by some
by
choice,
me paying for the stake. Yeah, exactly.
Josh Nelson wins the bet. My bad. And you get to win by going to Gene and Giorgetti. So it's a win-win right there. Now, we got to talk about the 108 tourney. This is the second time you've been on Locked On White Sox. That was when Herb was solo hosting. I'm pretty sure I saw you creeping around the 670 The Score studios when you did that one.
Yes.
But we got to talk about the regions. You guys got a ton of regions out here. It went from what? I mean, what did the tournament originally start off at, and what is 2020 looking like? Because it seems like there's 10 different regions here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the origin story, like I mentioned, from the 108, the blog and everything started back in 2016. And we did like a live show January 2018 with Sox Machine. And we did it at Bader Brow. And Bader Brow was our sponsor at the time. They were a beer sponsor. So they were sponsoring the Sunday Soak. And they were kind of in on when the Sunday Soak is a video that we do every Sox homestand on the Sunday before the game. We do a live stream from my hot tub and we take questions from Twitter. So, and that's been going for much longer than our podcast, not quite as long as the blog.
Yeah, so and people might have seen you in their hot tub when they're watching Sox games because you win, a couple Sox mats out here, right. And you're shooting videos from your hot tub.
Exactly right. Same tub. They saw me like miss a hook shot ridiculously. And I remember after that, like I filmed that, people were laughing or whatever. And someone's like, why didn't you just keep going until you made the shot? I said, no, the whole key is I got to miss the shot. This is what people got to be able to body me on Twitter and seeing this. So anyway, we every year we'd get together for like a little 108 summit, which usually was just notepads and lots of beer. And we just spit out ideas, like creative ideas. And so in the 2018 one, I had this idea, and this was like in early February, we're having this meeting. And I said, I want to do this Twitter bracket poll thing, and it's going to be like March Madness and all this stuff. And I remember at the time, Treasy and My Sox Summer hated the idea. In fact, Treasy told me straight out, this idea is stupid. Like, you can do it if you want to, but it's stupid. No one's going to care about it, So I beat down My Sox Summer enough where he helped me with a graphic and I put together a little, field. And at that point, it was just 4 regions. It was 9 people per region. So I'll play in for each of the regions. So
you got a ghost win in there. You're the originator of the ghost win.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And that was what we went with. And I remember putting it together, tweeting something out, tweeting the blog out, and then driving to work. I left the house whenever, and I checked back like 90 minutes later when I'm on my work computer. I'm looking to see, and I'm looking in WordPress. And we're doing 10 times the numbers we normally do on like a regular blog post about some White Sox stuff. And I thought, oh my goodness, this thing is really something. And I remember we got a lot of feedback that first year. People liked it. They thought it was fun. And then 2019 and eventually 2020, which is when you discovered it, like that is when it really started to take off from the perspective of when people got in it, they wanted to make their own content. They wanted to make videos. They wanted to get, Joe Ganascoli from Sopranos to do a cameo for them or whatever. Like, I mean, some of these things were absolutely ridiculous. Stuff I didn't expect, but it just sort of blossomed like that. And so we moved up the teams each year. I think in 19, we had 65. By the time we got to 2020, which was the COVID year, the pandemic came up right as we were kind of starting it. We went to 108. We were at 108 last year. And this year, for the 2022 brackets, we've got 8 full brackets of 16. So we have 128 participants in the tournament. And I expect nothing less. I expect some weird stuff that I didn't see in any of the prior years pop out in this tournament.
I mean, what are you expecting? Are you expecting like a 16 seed over a 1, or what's the lowest seed here? I mean, I got a sneak peek. Yeah, 16. Yeah. So are you expecting a 16 over a 1 here?
No, I think it's pretty rare. In fact, these tournaments have been mostly chalk. It's been tough to get to the finals if you're kind of a lower seed. It does happen.
A guy got a region named after him for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. White Sox Dave has his own region because he won out of the tournament. He won it 3 years in a row. But it's tough when you're a lower seed to come up. So that makes me feel like I'm doing something sort of right about setting these up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, hey, you can hold this over Teresa's head for forever. I know you will. But you can hold this over Teresa's head forever.
Oh, and Teresa and My Sox Summer love it now because now it's sponsored. Now we have Goose Island sponsoring it, and Wings and Rings, which is on 34th and Halstead right there, kind of close to the park. Great spot to jump into. So now they're kind of sponsoring it, and the content spreads out far. So we have a reveal show. We're doing a Sunday soak on Sunday, March 13th to field questions about this. And then once the tournament actually starts, which the first poll is going to be on Wednesday, March 16th, and it'll go every day except for Sundays. We're like the Lord, we're taking Sundays off. We until March 30th, and that will be the final. We do nightly recap shows of the action during the day. And so we kind of started this 2 years ago. We thought, let's open up the phone and just talk about it for 3 minutes. And the amount of people that were watching it, we were like, holy moly, like people they want this. So then it became real gimmicky, kind of during COVID times. Like I had one where I wore a suit. Right. I had another one where I was, naked from the waist up, and my dog Morton's laying next to me as I'm laying on a mattress reading them. Like we try to mix it up and make it entertaining for the people, because really what the whole thing is about is just having a bunch of fun. And we want to put people in here in this tournament that are going to enjoy it and have a good time.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's what was, what drew me to it. I mean, I got creative with it too. And I mean, it was just fun to be able to talk to people in different ways. I mean, like, Sox Twitter can be so toxic, I think at times,
for sure.
Especially during a game, during the off season, and during the 108 tourney. I think it's such a nice relief for people to just see who's out there and meet Sox fans. And I mean, like, there's so many people, like GD. I had GD on the podcast, the best White Sox burner Twitter account. Like, yes. A lot of unprotected Sox who's now a 1 seed. I mean, like, there's a lot, even though he's slandering me about Jose Abreu on Twitter. Like, you have created, and I think this is part of why White Sox Twitter wins like all of these fan awards, because I think White Sox Twitter truly has come together around, the 108 tourney, because people do get creative.
I appreciate that, Sean. Yeah, I think a lot of the people that are in it have kind of embraced it. And you're right. GD is a great example, right? I started reaching out, like, who are some of the younger guns that I don't know about? Because as I mentioned, I'm 43 years old. Okay. So I'm a little older than the median Sox crowd. So I know there's all these little circles and DM groups and things that I'm not part of. I try to watch as much Sox Twitter as I can, but someone said, hey, this GD character, this is someone you got to watch. And so I was watching and say, okay, put this kid in the tournament and whatever. And he went on a monster run. And I was like, okay, this is my guy. So GD got much better seating this year. Nice. Than last year, and I expect GD to tear some shit up.
Absolutely, and if I could, I would bet on it, Beef. And it's that time of year again, as college basketball's tournament is finally upon us, and you could get the latest odds, contest, and player props at BetOnline.net. It's the #1 source for all your sports betting needs and info outside of the 108 tourney. That's Sam Panianovich's job.
That's correct
for the 108 tourney. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sports wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the website today, again, that's betonline.net, or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, Beef, again, I mentioned Herb Lawrence. He's in the tournament. We'll start with him because he was, on this podcast before, and we'll end with me because I'm a narcissist. And I got the big reveal. I got a gimmick that I need you to rate. So I'm excited to show you that. But it's in the Whiskey Gotcha region. Before we get into his matchup, oh no, he's in the White Sox Dave region. I'm in the Whiskey Gotcha. Before we get into the White Sox Dave region, why don't you give us the region names that we can look out for?
Oh, absolutely. So, and
you've already revealed the 1 seat. So if you don't mind revealing the 1 seats too.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So yeah, no problem. So the White Sox Dave region is really supposed to be sort of local celebrity media types mixture. We do the best we can with kind of that nomenclature. And Layla Rahimi from 670 Score is the #1 seed in that region. The next region up that I'm going to read off is the 108 region. Now, this used to be the region that would have all the 108ers in it. But after last year, we decided to make a decision, break us up. Some of the 108 tangential people won't be in it. Some of the rest of us core 108ers will be spread out various places. So we made that region this year all Twitter users under 1,000 followers.
Nice.
And so the #1 seed in that region is Husky Bardo. Up next is the Little Friday region, and the #1 seed in that region is Summer George. Now, Summer George won the tournament last year, finished second 2 years ago, and then won the tournament last year. He's a total beast. He's a content monster, but almost basically only during the tournament. It's hilarious because you don't get a lot of content out of him otherwise. And then when the tournament rolls around, he's drinking all day. He's got samurai swords. He's painting shoes. I mean, he's doing all kinds of things. It's unbelievable. Moving on, the next region up is the Wave Sucks region, and that's Sox Bear Peyton. And Peyton really got on the map last year, ripping a huge bong hit like in the middle of the day. Like it was like she was down in her matchup, first round matchup. She ripped this huge bong hit in her garage and took off, and she ended up winning a bunch of rounds because of it. So I was impressed with that initiative.
The first time I think we can condone smoking on the Locked On Sox podcast.
I'm not a smoker, and I'm also not a marijuana user, but I was impressed with the initiative. I'll just say it that way. The next region is the Sunday Soak region, so named after our content piece that we do on youtube.com/from the108 called the Sunday Soak, where you can see us in my hot tub answering questions on a Sunday. And that's Matt Zawoski of the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. He's been in the finals a couple times already. The Whiskey Gotcha region, which is the region you're in, is we'll get to your matchup in a little bit, is Unprotected Sox, the aforementioned Unprotected Sox.
I gotta go and find my tweets that I have some nice tweets about him. I have to go and delete them.
Especially
especially now that he's number 1 seed. I gotta kick his ass.
He's out. He's definitely out. And then the Classic View region is up next, and we named that after we always take pictures of the foul pole because we sit directly behind the foul pole and let everyone know that we're in that classic view, just to make fun of ourselves a little bit. And that's Janice Scurio. She's the number 1 seed there, and really for me, rating all the seeds, she's the number 2 overall seed behind the last year's champion Summer George. I really think she's on the come here and has a great shot to win the title. And then finally, Here's the Thing region, Alley White Sox. Alley White Sox has been a number 1 seed in this tournament for probably 4 of the 5 years, basically. So she's a total force. And I think she's been to the finals every year she's been in as well.
That sounds right. And as another Jewel alum, you go Alley White Sox. Right. Always rooting for fellow Jewelers. Now, let's jump into the White Sox Dave region. That's where Herb Lawrence is. Layla Rahimi is the number 1 seed there, rightfully so. And this is after the reveal. I know it feels weird because we're recording this a little bit before your reveal show. But this is
I'm wide open here, Sean. I'm naked. I'm sharing information with you, so I appreciate you being good about this.
He's not gonna like this pressure. Number 2 seed Chris Tannehill. Before we get to Herb Lawrence, I mean, you got a nasty matchup for Herb, but Chris Tannehill being a 2 seed, that's a lot of pressure for Tanny. Why do you believe in him?
It is because
that sounds bad. I love Tanny. I believe in Tanny too.
I did too. I'll be honest with you. We almost had to throw hands because he made fun of me on Locked On Sox, and he called me and Treasy meat eaters, right? And now he was dropping a Sopranos reference, so he says. But Treasy and I went to De La Salle, and we're the meat eaters at De La Salle. And when other schools would make fun of us, that's what they would call us. So I thought, oh man. Let me guess. I reached out to Herbie. I said, is my man a Catholic League? He go to Catholic League? He went to Gordon Tech, right? And he goes, yeah, he went to Gordon Tech. I'm like, I know where he's going with this, but we've cleared the air since. We've done some live shows together. He and Herbie did Ballpark Pub with us, and then they recently did 108 Day back in January with us. But no, he had a great run last year in this tournament, and he had some tough matchups where he fought off close and got real deep, and I believe he got to the finals of this region and ended up losing to Layla.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was pulling double duty, too, because, I mean, he was making graphics for Herb. I know Herb can't do Photoshop, yet he's making fuck Sean Anderson signs. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Tanny's trying to win Herb. 2 matchups, yeah. And this time, I love this, because you pitted Herb against Tanny's 2 guys. Herb Lawrence and Shane Reardon. He's going to have to, be Switzerland in this matchup, take himself out. There is no way that he can even vote on this one. Herb's got a tough matchup. Shane is an 11th seed. That's my guy. I mean, I feel like that might be a little low. I mean, that's a powerful 11th seed.
So sometimes that is the case in the 108 tourney, Sean. And the reason is we're trying to get really good matchups. So you're right. I probably is Shane maybe a 9 instead of an 11, probably, or an 8 or something like that. He's probably a little higher, right? However, him going against Herb is probably the best matchup to start off in this entire region. And you want a little fireworks right in the beginning. And I know they get along, but they also want to beat each other. Like these are the type of guys who they're cool with the other one, but they want to win. They want to advance, and you want to set up as many of these as possible.
The only thing is you can't get nice guy Herb. I hope Herb is going after Shane, and he might be. He's gotten a win. He beat me and Rob Hart last year. Congratulations, Herb. So maybe he'll feel more competition here. But hopefully Herb isn't like nice guy guy and being like, "Oh, I'll let Shane win here."
I hope not.
I hope Herb takes it to him.
You guys got a new brand to push. He cannot lose. He's got to stay in this a while. That's right.
Get it. And also, I mean, this is a big region for you. Chirizi's in this one, and My Sock Summer. You like either of those chances? Are any of those guys on upset alert here? The 7 seed Chirizi and the 8 seed My Sock Summer.
No, I don't think so. I think
you're in this too. 4.
I'm in this too. Yeah, I think I probably have the toughest matchup out of them in the first round. Like, I think My Sock Summer gets past James Fox. I think Chirizi gets past Jim Margulis. I got Alyssa Bergamini, and she picked up probably 2,000 followers since I set this up like a few months ago. And at the time, I'm like, you know what? I'm well known on Sox Twitter. I've been to the finals before in these things. Like, you know, I did well one year. I almost beat White Sox Dave. I was in the finals against them. And then she picked up a bunch of followers. I'm like, you know, this matchup's not looking great for old Beefloaf. It's gonna be a problem. Maybe.
I feel like too, like the people who know you, like your diehards, are gonna vote against you just because they want. And they're the same with My Sock Summer and Chirizi. So you guys are putting yourself in a dangerous spot here. Always now putting yourself on first round upset alert because it's funny if the guys who make the bracket go out in the first round.
Oh, absolutely, and especially if we get like clobbered. Like if I lose 80-20, like that would be absolutely hilarious.
Absolutely. And I got pummeled last year, 98-2-2. Me and Rob Hart, or it was 96, I guess, to 2-2. Me and Rob Hart could not even go up against Herbie last year. But this year, I'm a 5th seed. This feels nice against Wickle Jones, who I unfortunately I don't know. I'm gonna get to know him. He might make me very aware as a 5 seed. We know about the 5-12 seeds here, but Winkle Jones. Can you tell me a little bit about my opponent?
Yeah, sure. That's Mitchell Winkleman, I think is his last name is. He used to be a producer at NBC Sports a couple years ago, like an associate producer. You know, Sean, I had a hard time with you though, because really you belong in the White Sox Dave bracket. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I talked to Chirizi about this before. I said, what are we going to do with Sean? We got to put Sean in there in that bracket. And he's like, yeah, but he had a really good bit last year. We want to give him we don't want him one of these murderous matchups first. We want to give him some runway to do it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to put him in another region. And then when this region started lining up, and Chirizi and I were looking at this like a week ago, I'm looking and I'm like, man, I could totally see Sean run the table in this region. Like unprotected Sox is obviously a weak, limp number 1 seed, as we talked about previously.
Oh, I mean, the poor guy. I mean, we can't keep bringing up this prom night. I mean, he's the only guy who we always bring up his prom night. I mean,
I know.
It was very tragic, though. His prom night and it.
And it. All tragic things. I mean, I've been looking in the region like, okay, the number 2 seed Tom Paints is pretty tough. We'll see though. I haven't heard from Tom in a while. Like Tom hasn't been as visible on Sox Twitter as he used to always be, you know. And then King Nam as the 3 seed is also pretty tough. But I don't know. It looks like a winnable bracket, Sean. If you get a good gimmick going, I could see you get a little headway and being in the finals, getting through this bracket.
Look at that segue too. I mean, you are a natural host because I do have my gimmick below me, and it is in honor of you because you put me in the damn thing. And your whole shtick on your podcast, I've noticed, is drinking old beer, right? You're always drinking expired beer, is what I'm told.
100%. Yes.
And I think can be the king of expired beer because back in 2014 when I was not even able to drink when the Olympics were happening, good old Labatt Blue. You're a Labatt Blue fan?
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely.
They were making cans that I thought were all in this case. I thought there were 6 cans that were differently marked for the U.S. tournament.
Nice.
So they all got, different, designs here. And I was all excited. I'd get all the jerseys because I was big into hockey at that point. Couldn't drink at the time. Only 1 can designed. So there are 22 of these bad boys in here. So I was thinking, maybe we can see if I could, if drinking expired beer truly hurts you, this will be the most human experience of life. Yeah, exactly. I have gotten some pushback from my family members.
I could see that.
Shockingly enough.
Yeah.
So I also thought about maybe icing people, like Smirnoff icing people at CHGO with some old beer.
I like that.
But I was wondering, as the Joe Lenardi of 108 Twitter and the 108 tournament, what about drinking expired beer from 2014?
I love that idea. You got to figure out a good way to communicate it to the audience to ensure they know how old the beer is. Like I want you to be like I'm trying to think what's the guy's name? LA Beast. LA Beast will drink like a Crystal Pepsi that's 35 years old. And I don't want you to barf on camera like he would, but I want you to like really let the audience know and then anguish through it. Anguish, a good example. The way Summer George got on my radar a million years ago, in 108, when the Sox had dollar dog nights on Wednesdays, we decided to run a competition. Who could eat the most dollar dogs throughout the season? And people were documenting them, and they would tweet at me and put hashtags on them. And so I kind of kept the spreadsheet. Summer George would be the guy. He would do videos of himself. He would, show himself eating. And hot dog number 1 or 2, he's looking valorous and he's looking like, feeling great and everything. By the time he got to hot dog 10 or 11 tonight, he looked like he was going to die. Like you're like, oh my gosh, is this man going to make it home tonight? Or does he have to go to the emergency room? That's kind of like you got to build that up. If you're going to drink the expired beer, you get to the 4th one of the day, you got to look like,
I don't know if I could do 4 in a day. I think my bit might just be drink 1 expired beer a day and see if what that does to me.
Well, that's not going to do good.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. The Coach Dave thing. I mean, I was really appreciated that you and Teresa. Should I do it again? I mean, I the voice is very shticky. It's very cliche Chicago. It's tough to impress Chicago people with an accent that's making fun of them. So
I think maybe you don't hit them right away with it.
Okay.
But maybe if you're going with this other gimmick, right, then you bring Coach Dave back in over the top on it at some point. Like people they'll snap to it. So like maybe if you get past round 1, round 2 is kind of a tough matchup. If Sockside Pride ends up there, he's got a good following too. Like then you bring it back then and hit the followers over the head. Like, oh, I remember this bit.
Absolutely. And absolutely. And I just connected my mic because I am a genius podcaster. This 22 case of beer is unplugging my microphone here. But yeah, no, I mean, me and Sockside Pride, that's going to be a matchup because you mentioned the Catholic League. We weren't big against De La Salle, but we were big against Mount Carmel, and he's a Carmel guy. So Brother Rice versus Carmel, I'm going to just have to, call up all my high school buddies and tell them to vote against this jackass.
Yeah. So I didn't know you were Brother Rice. Yeah. When I was in I was in high school a long time ago. You might not even been born yet, but I was in. I don't want to. We don't have to get in that combo. I graduated in '96. I played basketball actually.
Yeah, I was born in '97.
Okay, sorry. Barely. Okay, all right. And I played basketball, and back then they had Rico Hill, who was really good, like my junior year, and they whooped us up. But when we were seniors, we beat Brother Rice. Like Brother Rice then, like is like a sports powerhouse now, but back then they were kind of like middle-ish of the road with a lot of the stuff.
Well, I mean, even when I was there, like 2015, like that's when they kind of started getting a little bit better at high school sports. They've gotten a lot better now. But yeah, I mean, we weren't even that good when I was there. Do you remember Jeff Buds by any chance?
The name sounds really familiar, but I'm not sure.
He played basketball in the same era. That's my uncle. So
is it?
I just interviewed my uncle.
I'm gonna have to go look at some old because I've saved a lot of the old programs from the things because see my stupid name in there. The 2 years that I was on varsity playing basketball. So I'll have to check it out. I'll have to see.
All right, 108 Tourney, give us the brief rundown again for people. Obviously, it's revealed. The reveal show was last night. Go check that out from the 108. You guys are probably going to have a ton of fun because this is Wednesday when we're recording. You guys are going to have a ton of fun on that. You guys have Steve-O joining you, right? Or no,
Steve-O, at Drunk Shy Sox Fan, the co-host of the Sons of Honarchy podcast. Yeah, we worked on that, kind of getting a new co-host for that. We ended up deciding on Steve-O because we thought he might do something ridiculous, and he also kind of knows the Twitter field pretty well, so he should have some takes. And I've been giving him a hard time that you better be prepared for this. All right, son, you ain't been on nothing like this before. You better be prepared. So really looking forward to it. No, so the reveal was last night, Thursday, March 10th. On Saturday, March 12th, we don't have this on any of our stuff yet, but the plan right now, Treasy and I are working with Sammy Panianovich to reveal the odds and do like a 15-20 minute odds reveal where we talk through some of the betting odds that Sam Panianovich puts together for us. This is Marked in Stone, Sunday, March 13th around noon. We'll be doing the Sunday Soak. We'll be taking questions about the brackets. So instead of doing, normally in our show, we would do sort of people that just missed, snubs, that sort of thing. We're going to skip all that. We're going to put it out there to the Twitterverse and let them ask us what they think. Why did the X person not make it? And I'll have to give some explanations for that. And then the actual tournament is going to start Wednesday, March 16th. And the polls will start, and it's going to go every day through Wednesday, March 30th, which is the finals. Except for on Sundays. And the polls will start at 8 a.m. and they'll be 12 hours long. And then at the conclusion of action each day, the 108ers are going to do a live show recapping the day's action on YouTube, about a 15-minute show. Just to pop in, talk about what happened during the day. let all of our followers get in the YouTube comments and yell at us, and we'll be done.
I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to figure out what I'm going to be doing, and I'm excited to just, promote you guys. You guys are the best. You can follow me on Twitter at From the 108. I appreciate you putting me in the damn tournament. Come on, I got.
Oh, you're good entertainment, Sean. You're well deserved to be in there. How dare you?
I got to book you every year. That's all. That's all I got. That's what we got.
I'm in. Count me in, baby. You know
all
it.
Right, hell yeah. You can follow Beef at Mr. Delicious 13. It's going to be really important during the 108 tourney. And this is, we might not have baseball for a while. So you got to have some entertainment, and these guys are entertaining. And since I didn't invite them, I'll give them the plug too. You can follow Chorizy E at Chorizy, CHORIZY. And you can follow My Sock Summer at My Sock Summer on Twitter. Beef, I appreciate your time, man. This was absolutely fun. And, I got to check out that classic view at some point.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Sean. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. Our next episode will be the Mailbag Monday. You can call in 312-566-8727 or by writing in at LockedOnSox@gmail.com. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast.